Hello there everybody, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Asus Zenfone 2. This phone is already 5 years old, and so yeah, it was released in January 2015, and it was sold, I think, at about $300 or about 15,000 pesos back then. Now you can probably buy one of these for less than $140. That's about 7,000 pesos, and or less if you can get some good deals on the internet. If you buy this secondhand. But this is a great phone. Back then it was released like a budget phone, but with close to flagship specs. The build quality was pretty good as well for its time. The design was cool as well. And let's just get right into the video. So first, before we get into the specs and the features of this phone, you can actually take off the back, but it reveals the battery and the two SIM card slots and also a micro SD card, but you can't actually take off the battery. It's a non-removable battery, but you could still take off the back part of the phone to access the slots. So this phone has a 3000 milliamp hour battery, and as I said, you have that micro SD card, which you can add storage to the already huge storage, which we'll talk about later. So I asked my sister about the battery life of this phone, and she said she gets about 3 to 4 hours of screen on time, and that's just watching YouTube, playing games, doing all that stuff, messaging as well. I think that's pretty decent battery life for a 5-year-old phone. And this phone has Zen UI, which is an Android skin that was made by Asus. Of course, is the old version. And after 5 years, this UI is still pretty cool. It's very responsive. That's the thing I love about Zen UI, is because how fluid it is, how quick the navigation on the menu, switching apps, and that sort of stuff. Multitasking is very good in this phone as well. And talking about that multitasking, this phone has an Intel CPU with 4 GB of RAM, and 4 GB of RAM in 2015 was pretty huge. I remember back then, I still have my tablet right now, but my tablet is a Galaxy Tab 3V by Samsung, and it has 1 GB of RAM, which is pretty fine for making just basic stuff. I don't really game on my tablet anymore that much, because it just simply can't handle most of the new games in the Play Store. But yeah, this phone, the Asus Zenfone 2, it can handle gaming pretty well. But yeah, the CPU is a quad-core processor, so you won't get the most FPS in games. But 4 GB of RAM, for just multitasking and loading apps is pretty quick. I recommend this phone. One of the reasons I recommend this phone is because of the performance and the internal storage of the phone. As I was talking about earlier, this phone has pretty huge storage, so if you're looking for a phone in 2020 which has pretty huge storage with great performance as well, with great not the best battery, but a decent battery, this is the phone you're looking for, because this variant of the Zenfone 2 has 64 GB of storage, and I think that's pretty huge and great if you're doing a lot of stuff on your phone, have a lot of videos, have a lot of pictures or music as well. I don't think you're gonna be able to use up the whole storage unless you're like a YouTuber or video producer who has quite a lot of files or games too. I mean, this phone has a lot of games and it's not even full yet. And next we'll go over the display of the phone. So this phone has a 5.5-inch 1080 by 1920p LCD display. So it's not OLED, but I think this is a pretty decent display. Of course, you have those sharp images and good colors, but of course it's not the best. It wasn't the best in 2015. But it's pretty good display because of those 1080 pixels. Then let's go over the gaming experience of the phone. So as I said, the Asus Zenfone 2 has 4 GB of RAM and that quad-core Intel CPU, which will handle games pretty well, but not the best. Obviously, this is a 5-year-old phone, but after 5 years, this is still pretty impressive performance that you're getting out of these specs. As you see, I'm playing Minecraft here. This is an older version of Minecraft, but it's holding up pretty well. I'm getting like 50 to 60 FPS on low graphics, but this is pretty decent if you're playing, you know, lightweight games to medium graphics games. This will be a pretty good performer. Oh, and I forgot, this phone actually has a 3.5mm headphone jack, so you are gonna get the that wired headphones experience, which is pretty great. You know, Bluetooth audio is good, but it's not the best right now. It's still, you know, advancing, but yeah, just to let you know, this phone does have a headphone jack. Alright, so next let's go over the camera of the phone. So this is the rear camera, and it's a 13 megapixel f2.0 sensor, and it can do video at 1080p 30 fps. And the selfie camera, if you're wondering, that's 5 megapixels, also at f2.0, which is pretty good. At the time, there weren't really, I mean, back then there were already quite a bit of phones that can do 1080p video, but not at this price range. So I think that's one of the reasons why you should get an Asus Zenfone 2 in 2020. Now this won't be as high quality because of the YouTube compression, but I think you should get a clear idea what the photo looks like when you take a picture on the camera, the phone. And this was actually taken in a different time, because when I took the original photo it was blurred, so I had to retake it. And lastly, let's listen to the speakers of the phone. And that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you're looking for a decent phone, actually a pretty good phone in 2020, well, this is the Asus Zenfone 2. Of course, you know, it's a lot cheaper than it originally was in 2015. So I think that's one of the reasons why you should get this phone. You know, but I think you can only purchase these for secondhand. I don't think they even make these anymore. But if you can get a great deal, then this phone is a must-have if you don't have that much money. So yeah, if you guys want more reviews, then please leave a like and subscribe to help me out. I'm trying to get a lot more subscribers, you know. So stay blue, my friends. Goodbye.